Hello my lovelies, how have you guys all been doing? I've been pretty busy this last week, so I haven't gotten a lot of reading done, but I did get a whole audiobook finished, so that's exciting. I finished The Assassin's Apprentice by Robin Hobb. I don't know if you guys can see that. I just picked a random book cover picture from the internet. I've been really enjoying the series. I started the second book immediately after finishing the first. It makes me happy. And, oh, how I want to tell you guys about it. Assassin's Apprentice by Robin Hobb is the first book in the Farseer trilogy, and from what I kind of gather is all of her books, or maybe not all of them, but a lot of her books are all based in the same world. So it's either the same character as in this book, or has other characters, maybe possibly within these novels, but then, you know, kind of where they go and what happens to them. So I'm really excited to keep going with this series and all of the other series that kind of join up with this world. You start out pretty slowly in these novels with Fitz, or Boy as he's called for the majority of the first novel, and it's a very interesting kind of like growing up, and like the way he grows up is a lot different than most children, even if they were to have been raised on the streets. And then you slowly get to learn more about this world that has these special little magics and different things like that, and the fact that there's like, I'm assuming how it's kind of set out in the book form is that at the beginning of some of the chapters there's like a blurb or like a book entry kind of thing. I haven't actually gone out and looked at what these books look like in person like I had when I was reading Brandon Sanderson's Stormlight Archive. Those I went and kind of looked at the books because sometimes it's good to visualize how the book is actually written in paper form so that you can kind of understand how it's actually being read. So kind of at the beginning of every or most of the chapters, sometimes a little blurb, sometimes a bigger blurb about something that may or may not have to do with the chapter they're working on, but it's interesting. Fitz, or the boy, he's growing up as the bastard to the king-to-be. At first he had been left with his mother, who now he cannot remember, and he's been brought to the keep of the castle where his father lives, and he's getting raised by the barn master, who used to be the king's right-hand man. The fact that the king-to-be has a bastard is a big no-no kind of thing, and as you read this book and get to know the characters and know the world he's living in, it kind of seems like a two-sided coin with the whole who's bastards and who, you know, no one mentions certain people being a bastard or not. Oh, how to explain this book that it sounds wonderful, because it is. Fitz grows up and he has certain abilities that not everyone has, and he gets into a lot of trouble because of it. He's trying to grow up and be raised in the best way that his father's stableman can raise him. I love reading first books of series because of the fact that you get to like question so much about what and where this story is going, what is the important factors to this, and all of those wonderful things. The magics involved are so interesting, and also the way that they're kind of put forward, because they talk about of how certain magical skills may or may not have been a good thing back in the day, and because they fell out of popularness or use, they now are kind of frowned upon and shunned, and whether or not that's something that should be happening or shouldn't, and what you hear about these different other magical powers, is it true, is it not, you know, should it be more empowered, that kind of little thing really interests me. I'm not exactly sure what it is about this book that really drew me in. We had started listening to it on our way to our family reunion, and me and my husband just, at first it was, man, we listened to 2 hours. I more wanted to just pick up a book and read it than listen, so I went on reading and he went on listening to a different audiobook he was already listening to. I think a week later picked it up and said, oh, well, let's see where this goes in the next like hour and a half, and see if I'm gonna really like it, because I'd heard such good things about it. And I'm really glad that I turned it back on, because it really drew me in, and I've been so interested in how it's going to go. And then, you know, there's those little like hopes and dreams of way too extravagant, and you know that it's extravagant for what you might think could happen. And I like to fantasize about what the fantasy is going to be about. The biggest thing I would probably change is who reads the book, because the accent of the guy reading the book drives me a little bit insane, because sometimes some of the words sound so different from how I am used to hearing it. At first I don't realize what it is. Don't have any specific, words that I'm going like, oh, this one exactly, this one I had to listen to it like thrice. That is not how you say that word. But I'm not exactly sure which words. They're very uncommonly used words, and then being pronounced a completely different way than how I'm used to did not do well for me. So I'm not a great lover of this reader, especially because sometimes I get a little bit confused also, because I'm used to some readers that if like there's some kind of blurb at the beginning, each chapter they use a different enough voice that you can understand it's not the voice of the main character. And sometimes it's really confusing. It doesn't quite work out in a way that I'm 100% sure that we're done that reading portion. But oh well, I'm really enjoying it. Otherwise, the writing is amazing. I am really excited to keep listening, because I am 9 hours into the second book, and I am so excited. So the first book I think was about 17 hours, and the second book is like 29 hours, so it makes it a lot more excitingly long, because who doesn't want more hours all the time? My quick synopsis is it's about a boy who grows up. He was a bastard of a king, and he has been brought to the castle to be raised, but he never gets to meet his father, and he becomes a little bit more of someone of matter as time goes on. I wouldn't say he is of matter yet. I'm only in the second book, so I don't know exactly where it's going to go, but he has made some enemies, and he is an interesting character. This is why I haven't been doing book reviews. I've been really sucking at them. I don't know what to say while I'm doing them. I just know I really like it. Next week, you guys are going to be getting a very interesting video that I did with my husband and sister. It's called Judge a Book by Its Cover. I believe Reagan at Peruse Project on YouTube. I know she did this video at some point. I've wanted to do it since then, but convincing two people to come sit on a couch or a bed and do a goofy tag with me is a little bit difficult. And I'm not sure how well it's going to be edited yet, because they were a lot more ridiculous than I was anticipating. So that will be up for you guys next week, and I'm hoping the week after that I'm going to do a haul. I would do one right now because I bought a few books, but I know there are many more coming this month, because A, I have a book buying problem, and B, there is still Six of Crows by Lee Bardugo coming out, and I think another book that I really wanted, because I may have already bought the book that came out on the 1st this month, because I'm bad. I think there's another book that was supposed to come out this month that I really want to read as well. It might be coming out like on Tuesday. Maybe not. Books come out on Tuesdays, right? I don't know anymore. Okie dokie, I hope you guys are doing really great, and I'm going to now just be a lump and edit this video for you guys, even though it's super late today, and then I hope you guys do really well this week, and I'll see you next week. Bye!